So today we are going to make a Soot Sprite, also called a Susuwatari in Japanese. This is a little guy that you will see in the movie My Neighbor Totoro by Studio Ghibli. And he also appears in some other movies as well. He's adorable, look how cute he is. And so I wanted to go ahead and make this with you guys today. Let's get started. The yarn that we're going to be using today is from the Dollar Tree, and it's called Premier Just Yarn Teddy. So this is the color black, and it is a 4-ply yarn. So with that, we're going to grab our 3.5 millimeter hook, and you're going to want to also grab a stitch marker as well. So the first thing we need to do is 6 single crochet and a magic ring. So we're going to go ahead and make our little pistol shape that we are wrapping around once and twice and 3 times, because I'm going to do the double magic ring. So we're going under the first 2 and over the last, pulling forward to make our A. Slip your fingers out, but grab onto that ring. There we go, and then yarn over and pull through. Okay, so now our ring is connected together. We've got 2 loops. This is because it's a double magic ring. We're just going into that center loop to make our single crochets, and we're going to single crochet 6 times. Okay, so that's 3, 4, 5, going in, yarn over from the back, pull forward, yarning over, and pull through 6. Okay, so you can kind of see the braid. It is fuzzy yarn and it is black. So that always makes things a little more difficult, but I think we'll be all right. Let's go ahead and pull our tail gently, and you'll see that one of the loops starts to go in. So you grab that loop and pull that one first, and pull that gently and tight. And then also go ahead, once you've done that, and pull the last loop. And that gives you extra security in that center loop. So that way it's not going to be loosening over time. Place your stitch marker. Our next row, we're going to go ahead and do an increase around row, okay? Which means we're going to do 2 single crochets into each of the prior round stitches. So we're going in underneath that, both the V, okay? Make sure you're going underneath the full stitch, yarning over in the back, pull forward, yarn over, and pull through, and then go into that same stitch and do another single crochet in there. That gives you your first increase, and we're doing that all the way around. So we're increasing all the way around this row. At the end of this row or round, you should have 12 stitches because we are doubling what we had on our prior round. Okay, once you've finished your row, go ahead and take out your stitch marker and place it on your working loop here. Next round, round 3, we're going to go ahead and do 1 single crochet and then 1 increase, 1 single crochet, 1 increase. That pattern is going to go all the way around, and by the end of this round you're going to have 18 stitches. So the first we did a single crochet, next stitch we're going to go ahead and do an increase, which is 2 single crochets into the last one, right? Then we're going to keep going that same pattern, single crochet and an increase. And do that all the way around until you get to the end of round 3. Okay, round 4, we're going to do 2 single crochets and then an increase. That's the pattern that's going to go all the way around. So 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then an increase. Okay, so that's the pattern. You want to go ahead and go all the way around this round, and you should end up with 24 stitches at the end of this round. We finished round 4, we're going to do round 5. Round 5 is 3 single crochets and then an increase. So we're going to do 1, 1, 1, and then 2. Okay, so 3 single crochets and then an increase. So let's go into the next stitch and do our first single crochet. 1, 1, 1, and 2. 3 single crochets and then an increase. Go ahead and finish up this round and I'll meet you at the next round. Okay, so we've gone ahead and we've finished round 5. Rounds 6 through 11 are going to be building up our circular body. So we're just single crocheting around. Again, rounds 6 through 11, you should just be single crocheting around, And at the end, you will still have 30 stitches on the end of your round. Okay, so once you've done 11 rounds total, and you finished working up on your little round body, we're gonna go ahead and start the decreasing portion of our Soot Sprites. So for round 12, we're gonna do 3 single crochets and then an invisible decrease, so that we'll end up back at 24 stitches at the end of the round. So we're gonna go into the next one. Okay, so find your next stitch. We're gonna go in and do a single crochet. Into the next one, we're gonna do a single crochet. Into the third one, we're gonna do a single crochet. And into the fourth one, and fifth one, we're gonna invisible decrease, okay? So that means you're going in through the front loops only of the first, front loops only of the second, yarn over, pull through those 2 fronts of those 2 loops, then you'll have 2 on your hook, yarn over again, and pull through. That's an invisible decrease, you guys. All right, so we're gonna do that again. 1, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, invisible decrease. Again, going in through the front loop only of that one, front loop only of the next one, yarning over, pull through those 2 loops there, yarn over and pull through. And do that all the way around until you get to the end of this round. Okay, so we've just finished that round. Let's go ahead and move our stitch marker. We're gonna do the next decrease round. So round 13 is 2 single crochets and then an invisible decrease. The end of the round, you should end up with 18 stitches. So you're gonna do that pattern, okay? So we're gonna go into the next stitch and do a single crochet. The next one, single crochet, and then an invisible decrease. Going into those front loops only and yarning over, pulling through those loops, yarn over, pull through. Okay, single crochet, and invisible decrease. Just keep on going all the way around doing that same pattern, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. Okay, and before this hole gets too tight, let's go ahead and do the eyes. So let's set this body aside for now, okay? Pick up your white yarn, because we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make our 2 eyes, the white part of the eyes. Okay, so with the white, the first thing you need to do is to make a magic ring. Okay, so I wrapped it around 3 times. I'm going under those 2, over that last one, bringing it up to make my A, pulling the loops so I can get my fingers out. So I've got my 2 loops here, yarning over from the back and pulling through so that my loops are secured together. Now I'm going to go into that center, yarning over from the back, pull forward, yarn over, and pull through. That's 1 single crochet into the magic ring. We're going to do that same things, total of 6 times. So we should end up with 6 single crochets on the first round here. Pull your tail and you'll start to see this loop go in. So you're going to grab that one first, gently pull that until you see the ring close. Now pull your tail and pull that one closed. Okay, so that's now it's doubly fastened. Now you need to place your stitch marker. Okay, so for round 2, what you're gonna do is you're gonna, into the next one, you're gonna do a slip stitch. Okay, so you're yarning over, pull through, and then just pull through that loop that's left over there. That's 1 slip stitch. Now into the next one, you're gonna go ahead and do an increase. So that's 2 single crochets into the next one, right? So there's 1 increase. Now we're gonna do another increase into the next, okay? So slip stitch, and then an increase, and then another increase. Now we're doing that again. Slip stitch, okay? Now an increase, and then 1 more increase. Okay, now you can take your stitch marker out. Let's go ahead and slip stitch to finish off this round and the eye in general. And now we can go ahead and cut this away, leaving a tail to stitch this onto the body. So there's one eye. You can see it's got a bit of an oval shape. Okay, so that's what we want. We need to make one more. So go ahead and make one more on your own. So we're gonna go ahead and just stick the post through the eye. Okay, so make your decision as to how you want the eyes to look. We're gonna go ahead and put the back on here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just putting the eye up against something soft. So it's paper in this case. And I've got this little tool here that's gonna help me. And just push down until you hear it click. Okay, so here's the first one that's secure. And then we're gonna go ahead and get the next one. Grab the back of your safety eye. Okay, and then you can click it with your hands, or if you have a tool, you can use your tool. Perfect. Okay. So now we need to stitch down the eyes to the body. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and stuff the little body. I think that should be good for now. So now that we've got our little ball here, we're gonna go ahead and decide where we want our eyes to go. So kind of play around with how the eyes are and where they are, and if you want them closer together like so, or if you'd like them further apart, that's completely up to you. You can have them being more like that. You can have them sideways, you know, more horizontal. There's a number of different ways to do this, so it's totally your preference of how you'd like your little Soot Sprite to look. All right, so I'm going to place this one here, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch it down. So we're whip stitching. I've got some stuffing in the way here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get that first one coming down. Now I'm going underneath both loops, going back into the body, coming out to the next space where I'm going to want to attach the eye. Okay, going again around and into underneath side of the two V loops there from your last row or last round. Okay, go back down into the body, come out to the next space, then go out and around and just keep going around, whip stitching this eye onto the body. And as you get closer here, you just make sure that that little safety eye in the back is poking into one of the spaces. And that way it's not sticking up. Okay, once you've finished, you're going to go ahead and tie off the white. So what I do is I pick up this one of the stitches, and then I go in through the loop. So we're just tying a knot. I'll lift it up to find the gap underneath where the knot is, come out somewhere else, and gently pull until you see that knot tuck into the inside of your work. Okay, clip away, and then tuck in that end. Okay, so we've done one eye. Now we need to go ahead and do the same thing with the other eye to attach. We're just whip stitching it around. So you can go ahead and attach the other eye now. Okay, so once your little eyes are attached, and mine looks kind of sad, which I think is really cute. So we're gonna go ahead and finish up the body here. And the next round, which is gonna be round 14, we're gonna do a single crochet and then an invisible decrease around. By the end of the round, you should have 12 stitches. So here's single crochet in the next. And then we're gonna do an invisible decrease. Again, going only through the front loops of the next 2 stitches, and then continuing on, doing a single crochet in the next, and then an invisible decrease. And follow that pattern all the way around until you're at the end with 12 stitches. Okay, so once you've finished that round, go ahead and replace your stitch marker. Okay, and the final round, we're gonna go ahead and just invisible decrease all the way around until we've come to the end, in which case we'll have 6 stitches, and then we'll finish off and close the gap. So go ahead and do invisible decreases all the way around until you get to the end. Okay, so once you have finished, you should have a little bit of a gap here. So make sure it's the squishiness that you'd like, or stuff it a little bit more like I just did. And that way you've got it just how you want it. And then we're needing to close this little gap here, okay? So thread your needle with the tail that's left over, and you're gonna be working just through the front loops, weaving in and out, okay? So I go from the outside to the inside, again, just through the front loops only, inside to the outside, gently pull. I don't pull tight yet, okay? Outside to the inside to the outside, into the next stitch. And since you're left with 6 stitches here, you should be able to do this 3 times. So we're going outside to the in, inside to the out, again, working through the center of the V or the front loops only here. Okay, so now that you've got all those weaved, you can watch the center here as I close it. Gently pull, and that should close that little hole that you had there, see? Then you're gonna just go into the same space, coming out somewhere else to secure. Now we're gonna go ahead and tie it off. So I pick up a stitch, making sure I get that whole stitch, otherwise the knot will not go onto the inside. Okay, gently pull, lift it up so you can see where the gap is under that knot. Come out somewhere else and gently pull until the knot tucks into the inside. You may have some little stuffing that's poking out here. You can just pick it and pick it out of there if it's bothering you. Okay, and then go ahead and clip this away. And then just pop that tail onto the inside. So some of the Soot Sprites just look like this, right? They don't have legs. So you could keep it like this if you wanted to, or you can add little legs and arms, and it can be holding one of the stars. So first thing we should do is make one of these little stars here, okay? And they're very, very simple. You can make them with 5 points. You can make them with 6 points if you'd like. I've seen them both ways as well. So this one had 6 points, this one has 5. So it's your choice. Okay, so grab your scrap yarn. So you should have picked out some scrap yarn colors here. Since I already have pink and green, I'll go ahead and show you by making a yellow one. Let's do something different here. Okay, so we're gonna set our little head down over there, grab our yarn, grab our hook, and we're going to start off by doing a 6 single crochets into a magic ring. So again, going under the first 2 loops over the third, pulling up our little A here, pulling our fingers out, but keeping that tail in the back, yarn over, pull through. Okay, so now you're going to work into the ring however many points on the star that you'd like. So if you're going to do a 5-pointed star, you're going to do 5 single crochets into the magic ring. If you're going to do 6 points, you're going to do 6 into the ring, okay? So this is up to you. So I'm going to do 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Take your tail, gently start to pull to see which loop goes in first. Grab that loop and pull that one out rather, and that will pull the other one in. Now take your tail and pull your tail to secure completely. Okay, so there's your little magic ring. So the second round is what's going to give us our little points. Place your stitch marker just so you know where to end. Okay, so now into this next one, we're going to do the same pattern into each space, okay? So we're going to do a slip stitch, just like that. Now we're going to do a double crochet into the same stitch. So yarn over, going into that same stitch, yarn over from the back, pull forward. You've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Should still have 2 on your hook, yarn over and pull through those last 2. That's a double crochet. Then you're going to do 1 more slip stitch in that same space. Okay, so that's the pattern. It's just going to give us a little star-like bump here. Okay, going into the next one now, we're doing another slip stitch, into the next here, double crochet into that same space, pulling through 2, pulling through 2, and slip stitch again into the same space. So there's 3 stitches basically in each space, right? Slip stitch in the next, double crochet in the same stitch, pull through 2, and slip stitch in the same stitch. Okay. Going into the next, slip stitch, double crochet, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and slip stitch again. One more time, slip stitch in the next, double crochet, same stitch, pull through 2, pull through 2, slip stitch to connect. Okay. All right, so take your stitch marker out. You're actually done with the star. So you've hit the end, you've slip stitched to connect everything. You've made your little stars. You can go ahead and clip away. And then go ahead and pull that yarn through the loop to fasten off. So there's your little star. Nice and easy. So you can really make as many of these as you'd like. You can have them just hanging out with your Soot Sprite. You could attach some to the Soot Sprite. You could layer them if you wanted to. Make some little head decorations. You could attach it anywhere really, because they usually have them around. So that's really up to you. But you just want to weave these 2 ends in. So the next thing we're going to do, though, after I'm going to weave these ends in, is we're going to go ahead and have our next Soot Sprite holding this star. Okay, so we've got our little Soot Sprite's head, and we've got our star with the ends all woven in. I'm going to go ahead and grab our black yarn again. We need to start with a slip knot, okay? So we're going to wrap around once, taking the tail, putting it through the loop, hold on to the tail and the working yarn, and grab that loop. Okay, and that's created a slip knot as so. We'll put our hook in there. So now that we've got our slip knot, you could do this 2 ways. You could chain first and then connect to your piece, or you can just pick up your piece here and then you won't have to do that extra stitching step, okay? So you need to decide where you want your arms. Do you want them in the front? I usually keep them to the side. So I kind of go around where this middle part of the eye is. I go over a couple stitches here. So I'm going to go in, coming out somewhere right next door. And then in order to connect, I'm going to do a slip stitch to connect. Okay, so I just need to pull that through the loop on my hook. Pull that tail tight so you can see now that we are connected here. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and do a chain. So you want to chain for the hand as long as you want the hand. One arm on this little guy is about 12 chains here, okay? So let's go ahead and start chaining, and then we'll make our decision as to how long we want the arms. So you're just yarning over, pulling through, yarning over, pulling through. That's a chain. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I want the arm long enough to where if I want to stick the little star on its head, that the arms will stretch up above the head like so. Okay, and you can have them be more dangly if you want, which is why you would add more chains if you wanted more chains. So as you can see here, this one will be pretty good with having that little excess room. So I think I like it here. This is the 12 stitches, 12 chains, excuse me. All right, so now grab your star. So we need to connect it to the star. So we're gonna go in from the back to the front, picking up a side stitch, okay? So you've got your points and then you got the inner sides. We're gonna pick up the side stitch here. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna single crochet once into that star. So when you've single crocheted into the star, you're gonna go ahead and pull the loop up, clip it away. Okay, Okay, pull through. Now to fasten this even further, what I like to do is get my yarn needle, and I just like to go around a few times in this little space that we've got here, okay? So I go through to the back, in through the hand here, and then back down in through the star. So we're just winding it around a couple times. So this just really fastens that hand on, so it's not going anywhere. Okay, and then when you're done with that, you can go ahead and tie this off as you've been doing. Okay. And then you can tuck this little thread in here. So one way you can do that a little bit is just kind of weaving it along this chain. So coming in through the V, coming out up through the next part, down through the next part, and just kind of weaving this in a little bit. You don't have to go all the way down, but just, you know, making sure that it's nicely fastened here. I'm going to go onto the back, and then I'm just going to cut this away. So, okay. So now he's got one hand holding the star, and you've got one tail here. So thread your needle. So what I like to do is to go into the body, coming out to the next door stitch. And then I just kind of pick up the arm one more time, just to really fasten that arm, make sure it's not gonna go anywhere, so it's nice and snug in there. Again, you might have some stuffing that's trying to poke through, so you can just pick that away. And then you'll go ahead and tie this one off as well, making a little knot here, lifting it up, putting your thread down through, coming out somewhere else, and then gently pulling until the knot disappears. Then go ahead and cut that away. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing we just did on the other side. So that way, and again, this is if you want, right? With these little guys, you see them all over the place. So you could just do one arm if you wanted. I like to have both arms holding it. So I'm going to grab my black again. It's the beauty of these, right? You can really make them each have their own unique personality, which I love. So I'm just doing another slip knot on my hook. I'm looking at the face, and I want to do about the same equal distance as I did over here on the other side, okay? So again, I'm going to go in, coming out to the next door stitch. I'm slip stitching to connect, just as we did before, pulling that tail to secure. Now I'm chaining 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I've got that arm. So now, this is how I'm looking at mine. Okay, so now I need to grab the arm that we just finished, making sure that I'm looking at it from the front side, because this is the front where you can really see the stitching really well. Okay, so once you've got your hook through the stitch on the opposite side of the other hand, you're going to go ahead and do the same thing. You're going to go ahead and single crochet the hand onto the star, and then pull the loop out, clip it away. And then with these tails, you're going to go ahead and do as we did on the other arm, where they connect to the star. We're just going to wrap it around a few times. So into the same space, coming out on the back, then going back in through the hand, then back down again, going around and around a couple times just to really fasten that hand to the star so it's not going anywhere. Okay, once you've completed that, the hand is nicely fastened, you can go ahead and tie off the black on the back side. And then with this final tail here, you can just kind of tie it in weaving it into the chain if you'd like, just a few stitches. You're just basically wanting to pull that end in. Okay, and then just clip it away. And then you'll go ahead and tie this one in the same way we did before, where we're going in to the body and then going back into the arm and the shoulder area. So we're coming down into the body, coming out next door, and then just make sure that the arm is nicely fastened, coming out somewhere else, and going ahead and picking up a stitch so we can tie off our end here. Lift it up so you can see the hole underneath, coming out somewhere else, and gently pull until that knot goes in. Cut away. It's just stuffing there. Okay, wiggle to make sure the end gets in. Okay. So now we've got our arms connected, and we've got our little star is in his arms. It's a very Muppet-like look, isn't it, with these little arms this way? Hello, hello, yes, I'm happy. Wah, 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 wah. You can put it on his head, just like that, or however you'd like it. So now we're gonna do the same thing, same technique that we did for the hands. We're gonna go ahead and do the legs coming down, okay? So pick up your yarn again, make a slip knot on your hook. Figure out where you want the legs. Now you'll see I put mine slightly forward, and that's because I want him to be able to sit on an edge. So I will do the same thing on this one. So if this is your bottom, then you're gonna go ahead and make it slightly forward, just so that way you've got him as more of a ledge buddy. Okay. And then go ahead and do a slip stitch to connect as before. Make sure you tie that nice and tight. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and do more chains. So in this little guy here, I did 14 chains. So let's start with 14. We'll see if we wanna go more than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So you can kind of take a look and see, do you like that length? Do you want it even longer than that? It's really your personal preference. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this as it is. So what we're going to do, we're going to make a little sort of a foot. If you'll see here, it's just slightly thicker on the ends. And so to do that, all you're doing is going into the second stitch from the hook, or the second chain from the hook, and then we're making a single crochet. Then in the next one, we're doing a slip stitch. Okay, that's that. Clip away. And tie. And then you're just gonna weave this end in because it's already secured. So you can do the same thing where you kind of weave it into this chain here and just go up a little ways, kind of just doing a little bit of a weave and tucking in that tail a little bit. You could certainly go all the way up the leg if you want and then tie it off to the body. That works too. Whatever you'd like. Okay, go ahead and cut that away. All right, so we need to fasten the other end into the body. So just as you did with the arm, you're gonna go ahead and go into the body where you are, coming up right next door. And then going back down into the leg, just to make sure you're giving like one extra stitch, basically. You're just making sure that it's secured in there. It's hard to see with all the fuzz, isn't it? All right, so you're just securing it a little bit more. There we go. Coming out somewhere else, picking up a stitch, tying this off. Lifting up and tucking that end in along with the knot that you just tied. Okay, cut that away, and you're going to do the same thing on the other side. The legs are just for dangling, so I will meet you back at the end, and then we'll just do a final reveal. And there you have it, guys. Here's the little Soot Sprites hanging out together. Again, you can have his little hands down low, up on the head, however you prefer. But this really lets you make them have their own little personalities, which is so much fun. And you can even find little places that you can stick them, like right up here. I've got my little mushroom, and he looks so cute up there. He's just very pensive. He's got his little star, and he's a very happy guy. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and making these little Soot Sprites with me. Please don't forget, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you're let know anytime I'm on live or that I post a new tutorial or video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.